So today I'm on the Grand Union. What am I doing here? Cover restorations, not canals that are in water. This is another of our HS2 videos. Now HS2 is crossing a bit further down here, and we get to that towards the end of the video. But I thought I'd show you a couple of things on this canal first off, because there's some very interesting locks on here with a very changing history which is evident on these locks as we go down through. So this is, I think it's Bascote top lock. I think that's the right pronunciation. This is actually a double lock, a staircase lock, lots of names for it. They come in various different forms. You can have just two locks together, or sometimes you get quite a few. These are obviously quite big locks. They're wide locks, being on the Grand Union. They weren't always the case, and we'll show you that. I won't show you on this one, I'll show you on the next one down. As you see, this lock here, how a staircase works is you have your first lock, your gate, and this gate is absolutely ginormous, as you can see, and that takes you directly into your second lock, which you then go out of. So you've got to do these in one go. There's no like doing locks singly. So for boats wanting to come up, it's got to wait. It uses quite a bit of water, but does save the gate. And what you do have on this lock, which you'll see on the drone footage, is just over there, which actually I'll pop over and show you. It's like a side pound. So what you've got here then is this side pound. You've actually got two of them. You've got it overflowing down into the second one there. And this is just a way to save water. We had a few back into the locks. But the winding gear on these are quite impressive. I'm not sure if that's for greasing or something like that, but I've never seen them this big before. So the Grand Junction Canal, as it was known, was opened in 1805. It competed with the Oxford Canal, mainly. They were bit of rivals, but this was much straighter and much sort of better to navigate, so it did take quite a lot of traffic away from the Oxford Canal. The canal then started to have to compete with the railways very quickly. Opened, like I say, opened in 1805, and they soon became the Grand Union Canal. And the Grand Union Canal was, obviously, as the name might suggest, was a union of canals to try and group together to have some chance of competing against much larger, much faster railway companies. So what the canals really struggled with was the ability to ship lots of goods. They couldn't compete with the railways for speed. Price wasn't that much different, but they couldn't move huge quantities. Speed wasn't always an issue. You could sort of move goods slowly that weren't perishable, but the problem is with a narrowboat you couldn't move that much. So it brings us back to the point that these are wide locks, but the Grand Union isn't wide locks all the way down. It does stop. You can't travel north to south with a wide beam. And what they have is these. This was the original lock, and you can see here where the gates would have sat in. And you can see it's a narrow lock. So when they were trying to compete, they opened up these locks and they rebuilt all the locks. A lot of the locks were quite long, 80 foot, and it gave them the opportunity to take quite large vessels through. And it helped the Grand Union survive. You know, they never closed down, they were always profitable, and it was always a very good link between the Midlands and London. So what they did with these after their lock life was finished is they quite literally just bricked them up and left them as overflows. So they're now just what you call a weir lock now. Again, you can see where the gates would have been in here. Still got the metal in, the post would have sat in. I believe on some canals they're still open because they use them for saving water. I'm not too sure what the status is on the rest of this canal. All of these ones are shut. So you've got the two locks, and if you're taking a big boat or you're going up together as a flight, then you use the bigger lock. If you only got a little boat, take the little lock. Water is a very precious commodity on the canal, so it's good to be able to save some. So this is the bottom of the four locks, the Bascote flight. They're all kind of the same sort of footprint, really. Those sort of locks on the side actually do help a little bit as well, because they do act as a bit of a pound. If you go into a city, you'll find that they have these, they're tight for space, so they have these kind of really tight locks with pounds on the sides. The Digbeth comes to mind. Was what I saw last year. The extra capacity really doesn't hurt. This is bridge 29. Just trying to see if there's any signs of ropes on here. Yes, there is. You can just see them there, look. So that's when the barges would have pulled through. I reckon the facing bricks have been replaced at some point, because there's none there. But then again, it's quite wide here, so you might be okay. Same goes there, look. Very, very faint, but it definitely is there. So this is the last lock we're going to cover on today's video. There's plenty more to do on this, but no more locks. This is a good place to see it. So this is the old lock here, look. and it's just been sort of concreted across, grated, and they've created a channel through here, basically the towpath now. You've got the very pretty Welsh Road lock cottage over there, the old lockkeeper's cottage, and then this overflows beyond this grate down into here. Just before you get to Bridge 30, which is the Welsh Road Bridge. Old lock, new lock. These locks are a bit leaky. 97 on there, so they're probably getting towards the end of their workable life. See a bit of rotting. If they're kept full, they're normally better, because the water helps preserve the wood. It's when you leave them empty all the time that they start to dry out and become an issue. Some butterflies. I think they're doing the diary. So on to HS2. That's just up here. What do we think of HS2, people? Let me know in the comments. If you watched last week's video on the Oxford Canal, I admitted something very dirty, that I'm actually probably more in support of the railway than I ever was. I've been looking into it a lot, and there's a lot of reasons. I'll go into it a bit more in that video, so I won't go into my reasons now. I'm very aware that it's going to annoy a lot of you people that I've said that. And I get the hatred for it, the costs. No matter how you look at it, whether it's worth the money or not, I believe it is, but the costs are not what we've been told. And for landowners, I know just how bad it is as well. I know there's a lot of people that have been forced out of their homes because of it, and that's sad. 100% that's sad. I completely agree with that statement, but when you think about when these things are built, these canals, and the railways shortly after, do you think that they didn't upset anybody? And now they're an integral part of our lives every day. A lot of people use these on a daily basis, whether it's for exercise or whatever. A lot of people catch a train to work every day. Saves taking cars and being in traffic jams and polluting more and stuff like that. HS2, maybe in 20 years' time, when it's all grown up around it and people have kind of forgotten about how much turmoil there was to the construction of it, I think people will start to agree it was a good idea. And maybe whoever's in charge might look at extending it, which I kind of hope they do. The first thing we have here, which is far over the fields, is the tunnel. So it's a twin bore tunnel, and they used the same machine to do it. So they basically ran one tunnel through, and then they rebuilt and turned around the machine and bored the other tunnel straight through. It's called the Long Itchingwood Tunnel. It's about a mile long, and it takes it under the ancient woodlands, which they obviously didn't want to plough through with diggers. It's 125 metres long, and started in 2021. It broke through the South Portal for the first time in July 2022, relaunched in November 2022, and took 4 months for the 2,000 tonne machine to get to the other end. They then brought the machine back through the tunnel, taking it apart. The cut ahead is 160 tonnes, 10 metres wide, and was moved by road and go to a different area. They worked 24 hours a day doing it, and they excavated about sort of 500,000 tonnes of mudstone, which is being processed on site. They had a huge conveyor belt system, which along the route of the railway, I think they had a temporary bridge here at one point. It removed the equivalent of about 30,000 HGVs worth of traffic from the local roads. The woodlands themselves, they date back from at least 1600 AD and are a site of special scientific interest. They are planting, I don't know, about 350,000 trees and 62 new habitat sites, so they are kind of repairing what they've done. So here we are on the site of where the Longhole Viaduct is going to be. That's the Longhole Bridge number 31 just ahead of us there, and you can see they've got a crane here. They're boring down now for piles and stuff. And if you look just across there, there is a cutout where it looks like is one of the abutments is going to go. You can see just over in the distance there is a white structure. I'm not sure if that's going to be moved across here or not, but I think that's one of the things that lift and swing a bridge into position. You put it to the side and it pulls the section across. It could just be for unloading, it could just be a crane for unloading. I'm not too sure. I'll try and get down here sort of when things are happening more. So the viaduct is going to be quite a bit taller than this bridge. If you're going to be looking from that end, you're going to see this bridge still quite clearly. But it will tower above it about 2 to 3 times the height of it, which is about 7 to 10 metres off the ground. Things with high speed, you need to keep it as flat as possible. Brunel's railways were so successful because he built embankments and built them on a very level plane, cutting tunnels and embankments, so the trains didn't have to slow down going uphill. And the idea of HS2 is the same thing, and there'll only be slight inclines. Please do add your comments. I'm always interested to know what people think of these projects and HS2. It's very disruptive. It's also very controversial and definitely splits opinion. So please do say what you like in there, and let's discuss what do we all think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.